Good morning. Welcome to day number 4 of Awaken Your Confidence. Today we are starting with story number 3. So if you haven't caught up with day 1, day 2, and day 3, go ahead and go back to the videos before, emails before. Let me just go over. We look into what's keeping you from feeling confident. We look into things that make you feel good. Then we start going through the stories that kind of steal our confidence and keep us stuck. So today we are looking at story number 3. I am Christi Garner, women's self-empowerment coach, transformation specialist, and psychotherapist. The story that we're talking about today is the story of power. How do you feel about power in your life? Sometimes we feel we're powerless. Yeah, you ever feel that way? Powerless? There's lots of things when we are young that make us feel powerless. There's lots of ways that our life teaches us that we don't have power. But now as adults, we do have power. We all have the power, actually, to change our lives. So there are times we have to surrender to things we can't control. Control is kind of an illusion, right? What do you really control? What are you in control of? You're kind of in control of how many times you clean your bathroom, right? You're not in control of how dirty it gets, but you're in control of how much you clean it, right? So saying my bathroom is always dirty is kind of being powerless, but saying, wow, I need to clean the bathroom today, that's being in control, or, taking charge of the things you can change. So there are a lot of times that we try to control the things in our environment. We try to control our partners or control our kids or control the way our schedules are going, or we control the way that we want to control the weather, right? I have this great thing to do today, and now the weather is not the way I want it. So I'm upset because I can't control the weather. I'm powerless. The weather has all this power over me. So it's listening to that story that says, I don't have the ability to do anything about this. And this one's kind of hard because there are definitely ways in which we can't control everything, right? We don't really control anything at all. So there's ways that you have to surrender to things that you can't control. Like today I wanted to go have a picnic, but it's snowing outside. So I have to surrender to the snow. And then I say, where do I have the power? What can I focus on in this situation? What are the things that I can do? And I think it's a line that we all walk, right? Feeling like, oh my gosh, my job isn't going the way it's supposed to, or my car just broke down and I don't have the money to fix it. So there are lots of times that we feel powerless. And I think the story today about powerlessness is, I just want you to brain dump about all of the ways that you don't feel like you have any power in your life. Write it all down on the little worksheet, story number 3. If you're in my Empowerment for Women's Club, you can download the PDF. If you're on the email list, you should have it right now. So just go ahead and brain dump on there. What are all of the ways that I feel powerless in my life? What are the ways that things kind of make me feel hopeless? Okay. And then once you get out all of the things, I'm trying to think if there's more. My car broke down. My boss isn't a good boss. My kids are always never listening to me. They don't like to eat what I make them for dinner. Right? Just feeling powerless. So instead of focusing on all of the ways that your bathroom gets dirty or all the things that you can't control, I want you to instead, a replacement story, an idea for you is, what can I change, right? What can I do to make this better? Where can I have influence, right? Another story is, where can I surrender? Where can I let go into this, right? So there are times when, even when we feel like we're powerless to something, like for me, sometimes it's my job. Where I contract, and I don't always have control over when I start and when I finish, or I don't always have control over where I go. So I try to surrender into, okay, wow, there's something totally different happening in a couple of days, and that wasn't what I was thinking it was going to be. How do I just let go of my need to have it be a different way and say, like, okay, what's going to happen now? What exciting thing is going to happen in this total change, right? So I surrender to what's happening to me. So instead of fighting against and feeling powerless and getting all caught up in the fact that I can't change it, I say, okay, this is what's happening. How can I more deeply experience it? How can I enjoy it? How can I be curious about it? Because that takes all of the pressure out of feeling powerless, and it puts the power back inside of yourself, right? Saying, where can I have an influence? So my job, I feel powerless. My boss is terrible, or I don't like the way the organization is run, but I don't want to quit because I need the money and I need the benefits or whatever. Then you say, okay, where can I have influence? Where do I have power in this situation? Wow. Well, I have power over these few things. I'm going to make it my goal every day to go in, and the first thing I work on are these things that I can change and that I do have influence over, right? Every single day you have influence over the way that you show up in the world, the way that your attitude is, and that's your power, right? So for a replacement story, I just want you to think of what it is that you can change. Focus on what you can do to make things better. Okay, that's your replacement story. How can I make this better? Powerlessness in your relationship. There's a big one that a lot of my friends and a lot of my clients are talking about, is like, I don't have any ability to change my partner. Yes, that is so true. You don't have any ability to change your partner. But what you can do is you can say, what can I change, right? I was just talking to a friend of mine over the last couple of weeks and talking about goals in your relationship. And my friend said, like, we don't have anything like that. And I was like, oh, wow, that could be a cool thing to say. What are our goals together? Even if you're in a relationship that doesn't feel good right now, what are your values that you have in your relationship? One of my values in my relationship is freedom. I value freedom above almost everything. That's just a part of my story. And so that's one of the values that I bring into my relationship with my partner. And then when we go to make decisions, I say, wow, does this line up with my values and your values and our values together? That's the part of the relationship that I have power over. I get to decide what I value. And then when we're making choices about where we go for vacation, or about how we spend our money, or about how we spend our weekends, I can look at the things that I value and say, wow, this is what I have power over to change. Like, I really need exercise in my weekends. So today I'm going to get up and go on a hike, and I'm going to put that into my partner saying, I need to do this. Do you want to join me? That's where I have power, instead of saying, wow, I don't get anything done on the weekends, or me and my partner never do anything that I like, or I don't get enough exercise. My power is to change that story by putting those things into my schedule, talking about them with my partner and saying, this is something I value, and I would love for you to spend time with me doing that. So I go from feeling powerless to feeling like I have the ability to change my life. So this story is super important, and I want you to get in there and figure out where it is you're feeling powerless, and then change it to, what can I do to have influence over this? What can I do to surrender to this? Find out which story it is, and then tell yourself that story every time your habit comes up to want to say, I can't do anything. Say, actually, what can I do, right? If you want to feel more powerful, do your yoga warrior 3 pose. Get out and maybe you go to CrossFit, do some lifting, put on your favorite music that makes you feel alive, and like dance to it, or run to it, or walk to it, or listen to it in the car, sing it, right? Like, fill your body up with breath, fill your body up with that aliveness of feeling into your strength, and then go out into your day, and then go out into your partnership, right? Like, feel it inside of yourself. This is the way that we're gaining confidence, the way that we're changing ourselves from the inside out, as we are feeling into the power that we have, and then we are using it to influence our lives. All right, story number 3. One more story to go before we wrap this up. 5 days to awaken your confidence. If you got any questions, drop them down in the line for me. I'll answer them. Send me a private message. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. And I hope that you find a place to surrender or a place to influence in your story today. Christi Garner, Women's Self-Empowerment Coach. Self-Empowerment Coach on Facebook, Self-Empowerment Coach on Instagram, and www.transformyourlovestory.com. Okay, aloha.